in today's session, first the agenda will be to analyze the La Liga dataset, players data, and create 5 insights out of it. For in this, I am giving you all a hint. You will have to first clean the data. Okay, that is the step I am trying to look at from all of it. The link is available here. Once we have done this, then I'll move towards the ops side, which is using DVC along with storage. How have I shared the data right now? So right now I have shared it through GitHub, which is not the ideal way to track nor push data into GitHub. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a cloud storage, right? In GCP, we are going to create a bucket, right, in which we can store our data. Let's call this bucket skillfy AJDemo, right? Then, or let's name it AJDemo morning, right? I'll not add anything else. Continue, and then I will create it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one folder. I can also upload files here. For example, I upload, say, the advertising data. So all of you can see the advertising data will be uploaded. Now, what I want to do is how to make a Google storage bucket public for anyone to download. So one way is there is something called in console in the GCP. You can set some conditions. So for example, in this cloud storage right here, I can click on my bucket. If I go to the permissions, here it is saying it's public access. And if I want to grant access, here I will have to add in the principal. Here I'm adding all users. When this is done, then role I will add of storage object viewer. So you can see that, and then I will save it. Now I have given this access. So I have given the public access. So what we will do now is we will add this La Liga player status. I will now remove it and I will put it into the DVC folder. Okay. And so if you all remember, suppose I do now git status. There is one which has been deleted. First I will have to do git pull because there are some folders created. So yeah, git pull has been done and I'll delete this one and then I will move again. Yeah, it is already moved. So git pull is done. Git status is, there are 2 changes. So git add those changes, git commit, m changes, git push. Okay, once this is done, what I will do is DVC status. DVC status, you can see datasets is modified because we have added that. Now DVC add datasets, we are doing it, and then DVC, once we have added it to DVC, again if we see git status, you will see datasets.dvc has changed because we have changed the MD5 file we discussed yesterday. Then now we can do add dot git push origin or git commit, right? M la liga and git push origin main. So I have pushed the data locally now. So if you see now here, there is no data folder, but my DVC is handling locally all the data, right? Now what I'm planning to do is, I'm planning to configure into my DVC, into my online this thing. So for that, first I will have to set up my Google Cloud account, right, with DVC. So for that, I will be using gcloud auth application. So gcloud auth application default login. So I'm trying to access my gcloud. So if you see here, it is asking me to, access my gcloud. I'm doing that. So if you see, I'm authenticated. So what I have done, I have used the web browser way. And now what has happened, this account has been added. You can see here, this account has been added. The only thing is this project. Let's see now whether I can add my storage bucket into my DVC or not. So for that, the next step would be, what we will do is, we'll tell DVC now, this is the link I want to permissions, configuration. Let's add this one, this bucket. If I'm just copy pasting this URL, URI for gsutil, I'll do this, then I'll go to my git bash, and here I will add DVC remote -d GCS remote, and then I will copy paste the link from there, and then I will press enter. So if you see here, this has been added in my DVC as my GCS remote. What I'm going to do is something called DVC push. If I do DVC push now, okay, it is saying 7 files have been pushed. Let us refresh this. Now let me go to the bucket. Let us refresh this. All of you, can you see a files folder has been created? The MD5 file has been created, and all the MD5 which were done locally, right? Which were locally available in my cache, right? Files. This has been now uploaded here. Is it making sense, all of you? You can see here, it is uploaded here. Okay. So these files have been uploaded here into my online thing. So suppose I'll open datasets.dvc. You can see MD5 file and all its details are given. All our files are being tracked now, and it is also being pushed into online cloud. How many of you have followed me? Why do you want to upload files through Git when you can attach files to the bucket directly? If you attach files directly to the Google Cloud Storage, will you be able to track which version of the data was used with version of code? Yesterday we discussed. So suppose I come here and I upload the files, will it be able to track which is being tracked with what? So that would not be as seamless as just using it directly. So that is why we use DVC and all. And also it is fast to upload. Okay, I have configured my DVC. Let's do one thing. Let's now delete. Again, the other advantage of this, all of you please note what I'm doing. What I'm going to do now is I'm deleting this. How many of you are getting what I'm saying? So what I have done, I have deleted the DVC folder, or let's do it. We cannot delete DVC folder because there is a config file here. Let us look at that config file. Can you all see that this config file has the link to where I can download this file? So what it is saying, this config file, that all the data is now managed via this URL, which is on the cloud. So this has those details. What I can now do is, let's try this. I now delete this completely. Notepad, file, open. So I'm going to my dataset folder and DVC demo 1. I'm writing one more line. Added the GCS remote details to my DVC account. So I've added this. So I made one change into the DVC demo 1. What you will see, this will now make changes into the dataset.dvc file. You can check by DVC status. You come to know that modification of dataset folder has been done. So what I will do, I will say, okay, DVC, you add these changes. And as soon as I add these changes, in Git, you will see that the DVC file has changed, .dvc file has changed, and config file has changed. So I will then git commit, right, GCS changes. First I have to do git add, then I'll do this git commit, and then git push origin main. So if you see, a new push has been made. You can check the files now, MD5 files. Oh, I have to do one more command after this. Similar to git push origin, I will have to do DVC push also. As soon as I do DVC push, it will understand that because the config file says you have to connect with your GCP, it has done that. It has pushed 2 files. What I'm going to do now, all of you please note, I'm going to delete this whole repo. So I have deleted the whole repo. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to clone it back. So I'll just delete my File Explorer. Okay, it's deleted. Fine. So what I'm going to do now, all of you, I'm going to go back to this folder, and in this folder, if you see morning batch, everything is deleted. Everything is deleted. So from where do I get the data? From where do I get the data? Now code I can get. How can I get the code, all of you? I can go here. I can code. I can do the cloning. So suppose I go back here and I do git clone. All of you please note, I'm doing git clone. Just have a look. As soon as I do git clone, you will see all the files here. All my files are here. But where is the dataset folder? I have deleted it from my system. But now, because I have kept an online cloud storage of it, the dataset folder is not there. DVC file is there. .dvc file is there because it has the config file. But all the, if you see, all the cache files are gone. I don't have any backup of my data. Now, as soon as I do DVC pull, let's see whether you're not inside. Okay, so what I will do, cd kill5 mon 2070, I go into the data, and now I do DVC pull. So if you see here, it is trying to access my GCP account. Perfect. Can you all see one dataset folder was created here, and my data is back, and I can show you with Notepad. Obviously, you can see all the files physically. File open, and now if I go back to this data, right, 20, and in this morning, and here what I wanted to show, dataset folder, DVC folder. Can you see, add the GCS remote details to my DVC? So everything is updated. And from where did I get this file? I got this file from my online cloud storage. I hope it is making sense to all of you. You are getting the power of this. If I open the config file, .dvc fold, if you see, there is no config file here. So the configuration itself has not been done with the online this thing. So it is not able to, an MD5 file also had been deleted locally. So it does not have any backup, and there is no config file. So what I can also do now is I can add a config file and connect it to my remote. So here if I check my remote, DVC remote list, it is returning empty file. But as soon as I do git checkout main, right, you'll find the config file, and in that config file, now if I do git remote list, right, DVC remote list, if I do this command, it will list. Can you see now the difference? It is listing here from the config file what is the GS bucket it is linked to. But when I was doing it in this version, it had not got that list. So here I could have done one more thing. I could have added in my config file this GCS remote here and then tried it again. So let's try to do that. What I'll do is I'll just copy this, right, from my main folder. I'll do git checkout to the previous version. Git checkout to the previous version has been done. Now if I go back here and I go back here, now if I do git remote list, it will say DVC remote list, nothing will come because the config file doesn't contain that details. I can show here also. So if I try to open this, you'll see there is nothing. Now what I will do is I'll go to this folder. I know this is empty. What I will do, I will paste. Okay, it's not doing that. Okay. So what I wanted to do was git checkout main. Now if I open this with Notepad, right, file, open, demo, this, and here if I check all the files and I open config file, here these details are there. What I'm going to do, I want to control A, and I'll control C this. Let's see if it works or not. I'll go back to my previous version, and now here if I open the Notepad, right, and I open the config file, it will be empty. Open, right, here all files, it will be empty. What I'll do is I'll paste this. So what I'm doing, I'm synthetically placing the GCS remote now, all of you. Now if I do DVC remote list, please note I am in the older version. So now it is able to identify, okay, maybe your cache is in this remote. I have now configured it. Now all of you please see, as soon as I do DVC pull, let's see whether the data gets pulled or not. So DVC pull, it is able to connect. Perfect. Now if you see, the dataset folder has been created. And now if I use this notepad to open it, if you remember in the dataset folder DVC demo 1, third file is not seen. Third line is not seen, right? Because that was not present here. So I hope all of you are getting the idea. All the cache are present in the bucket, I will have to now configure the file manually so that it can understand that it can download from here previous versions. Correct? I hope this is making sense to all of you. How many of you are able to now understand, right, the power of GitHub and DVC? Can you now imagine if I have 1 GB of data, suppose images data, and I have played with this kind of production level data. Suppose, how many data are here, all of you? It has been stored in Google for now. How many data is there? You can see it must be in huge amount. It is in huge amount. So this data, now I cannot put in Git, but what I can do, as this person here has done, he has put it in Google Storage. I can also now manage my data through Google Storage. So let me show you all images, data, cat, dogs, for example. It will be costing me a bit, but I think it will be worthwhile. So what I'm going to do, there are 2 folders here. How many files are here, all of you? 12,500 files. So what I'll do is, maybe I'll download one of them, cat data. Let's see if I can download this. It is 848.87 MB of data. Download. I'll download it as a zip. So I'm downloading this 848 MB of data. And now I will show you, I'll be able to push this data into my Google storage so very fast. And the beauty is, all of you will now be able to download it also, because I have kept that Google storage public. So all my collaborators can work on it. So in industry, how it works is, at project level, you will have a email ID. So say, for example, I create a project level email ID, skillfy monbatch, okay, at google.com. Okay, suppose I have this email ID. This is the group email ID. Okay, and in this group, I will add all the members. So all of you as collaborators, where I will add you in this group. Now, using this group, I will be creating a GitHub account. I will be creating a GCP project. So now, if you are part of this group, right, you will be automatically a collaborator in the GitHub account, and you will be also getting access to GCP. So how many of you are now able to understand that, suppose you are new to the group, you are new to this project, I can add you to the group. For example, I add, say, Anish into the group. He's new and he is now working with me in data science, right, in my project. I have added him to the group. What he can do now, as soon as I add him, he can just git clone and he can just do DVC pull, and his whole project will be set up. I hope it is giving you the understanding that now, at least with version control, a lot of issues will be resolved. Let's see whether this has downloaded. Properties, it's still downloading, but yeah, there are 10,000 files, 313 MB, right? Now, suppose you are working on this data, Control C, you are working on this data. What I'm doing, I'm going here in our project, in the data folder, I'm copy pasting it here. How many of you are now understanding what I'm explaining? So it is copying 25,000 items. I'm going to work with this data in my dataset folder. Had I kept it outside, do you think it was recommended to push it in Git? Yes or no? All of you, yes or no? Quickly. No. Why? Because you can see it's a huge data set. It is approximately 800 MB of data. So let me just check pet images. I think this should be sufficient. Whatever has been transferred till now. Yeah, more than 10,000 files. So what I'll do is I'll pause this. So how many data is there, all of you? How many data is here? Pet images, more than 10,000 images. Properties, if you see 377 MB. All of you see the beauty of DVC now. As soon as I do this, first I will have to see DVC status. So you will see that it has modified because I have kept one new folder there. Okay. So what I'll do is git checkout main. So what I will do is I will reset this. So whatever changes I have done, I'll reset that. And now what I'll do, git checkout main. So it has come back to that. Then I will do DVC pull. So what it will do, it will remove that folder. So it is DVC pulling it. Let it do that. DVC status. Yeah. So the DVC is saying modified dataset folder because I have added pet images here. Now what I will do DVC add datasets. So I have added the changes to this folder to DVC. So it will add this changes and then we'll push it to the cloud, and then we will be able to track pet images also. And the other beauty is, all of you don't need to worry about this data set. You will just do DVC pull wherever you want to use it, and you will get DVC pull into your folder. You will get the pet images, which is huge amount of data. Perfect. So this is done. So now what I'll do, git status, you will see the MD5 file has changed. I will then add this changes and then I will commit cats data, then git push origin main. And now what I'm going to do, DVC push. This will push my data into DVC also, into my storage. Let's see how much time it takes. Once it is done, all of you can try doing DVC pull. You can try, first go into your GitHub repo, the repo which you have cloned from my repo, git pull, update it, do git pull, and then do DVC pull. You will also get the pet images data. So how seamlessly we are sharing our data is also configured here. So it may take some time. So let's try to understand what are YAML and config files. So how many of you have worked with YAML and config files before? So I'll give you all a context why I'm showing it here, because it is related to Python coding, and also with respect to MLOps. What is the major work of MLOps? The major work of MLOps is to ensure that we have reproducibility. We are able to reproducible our results, our pipelines. It should be reproducible. In order to do that, one of the major tool which you have, or a critical tool which you have, is called YAML or configuration files. Okay. Later, I will teach you something called creating ML workflows, right? Now in ML workflows, ensure that the workflows are reproducible, are automated, are environment agnostic, and it is modular and clean. Okay. I will explain you what is workflows later. Right now, just understand that there is a keyword which I will be showing you all later. Where did we use a config file today, all of you? Did we use any? So today we used a config file which was in the .dvc folder. And what did the config file contain? It contained the details of the GCS bucket. I hope all of you are following me. So now, what does YAML stand for? YAML stands for Ant Markup Language. So essentially, it is a human readable data serialization format commonly used for configuration files. Now, for examples, suppose I create this kind of script. Okay. Suppose I create this kind of script. Let me show you. So in our folder, let me create another folder now. We'll call it train folder. In that, let me add a file and call it train.py file. Now, all of you, what is this file doing? So if you see here, this file is essentially going to train a model going to train a machine learning model, which is going to be trained on something called gradient boosting regressor. Okay. So let's leave that part right now. But all of you, can you see here, if you see this code, it is reading a file whose data, whose path name it is extracting from a config file. How many of you are following me? So if you see here config data path, right? It is extracting, right, the path of this data. Usually what we do, if you all remember, when we were doing our Python coding, let me open that. So what we were doing, all of you remember this? We were reading the Python file directly from the folder, and we were giving the path. We were giving the path to that file. So if you see here, read CSV, we were giving the path to the file. Now this path of the file is coming from where? It is coming from a config file. Now can you all see the advantage of using this config file versus using this directly passing the file path here? Can you all tell me what is the advantage of using this way? Instead of passing the path here, why am I using that it has to read from a config file? Anyone? What advantage do you see here? Very good. So many of you have mentioned it becomes configurable means what? It becomes generalized. Now we don't need to worry about each time going and copy pasting here. Suppose you, in your case, suppose you are reading this path, you're cloning this file, will your path will remain the same as my path? The answer is no. So here, through this way, we understand that there is a config file where you have to enter the path. So for example, let me show you all. I create one config file, okay, in the same folder. So in my train.py folder, I create a new file. I call it the config.yaml file, and in this I copy paste this. Okay, I copy paste this. So all of you, if you see here, let me do one thing. Let me first comment this so that I can simplify it more. Can this be? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me create another file here, demo.py file. And then in this demo.py file, let me first open my YAML file. And to open this, I will require, it is YAML. So let's use this YAML. So what it is going to do, it is going to load this. Okay. So here, instead of, I will have to import a YAML file also, right? You have to import a package. We can read this YAML file. So what we will do, we'll import YAML, okay, which can read the files, and here also we'll replace it with YAML, okay. So now we have imported it. Now what I'm going to do, once I've imported it, I'm going to read the path. So what I'll do, I'll just print this, so all of you can get an idea how it is reading the path. So all of you, you see this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to run this code now. Which code? This demo.py file. I'm going to run this. So first I will have to go to this folder. Perfect. cd cd skillfy 27 July. Yes. Then cd skillfy morning. Again skillfy morning. Then cd train folder. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run python.demo.py file. So all of you just note, I'm going to run this file now. As soon as I run, all of you, can you see it has read the data / advertising CSV file. It has printed this. So how does it print it? It has got from config data the path. If you see, it is reading from config data the path, and it is printing the path here. So whatever path we have mentioned here, it is reading here. Now suppose I change this. Now suppose you are using this file, and in your case it is kept here. So what you will do, you will just replace it here, demo folder / this thing, right? Now suppose you have changed this path here. Now if I rerun this file, all of you, can you see it has returned this path now. So how many of you are able to understand that in order to make a generalized config file, so that we don't have to configure inside the main application file anything which we need to change again and again. So you don't need to come and change here. What you will do, you will just change it according in this data path. You will not have to worry about changes in your train.py file or demo.py file. How many of you are getting what I'm saying? Okay. So now, suppose if you see here, generally we also use it here. So if you see, when we train our model, we split our data into test and training. This is a keyword, splitting data into test and train. So what we will do, test size, config, training and test size. So what it will do, it will read from here, test size, training test size is 0.2 and it will take it from there. So if I print here the test size and if I run this now, all of you can see it has printed the path and it has printed 0.2. Where did it get its 0.2 value? It got it from here. Similarly, if you want, you can print random state also. So print random state, and here instead of test size we will use random state. So what it will do, it will take from here the random state, training random state, it will index, it will take out the from there, and as we run it, it will print that also. So if you see here, it is, sorry, this should be random state. So here you can get it. So it is printing it. In assignment, I would suggest you add more configs to it. For example, you can give a title Docker and then you can give a path Docker images and just give a random path here and then add this to your config, add the above to your config file and then print it in demo file. Okay, demo.py file. I'll go and cd ... right, git pull git, yeah, then I can go to cd train again and then I can run my python train, sorry, demo.py file, and once I do that, you can see it is also printing the Docker path and Docker image path. Perfect. The agenda for the next session would be MLflow. I will get to the core of machine learning, where I will start teaching you all data science concepts and how MLOps is important there. And for that, we are going to learn MLflow and we will learn DAGsHub. Okay. So two tools I will be covering in the next session, DAGsHub. So I hope all of you are clear with this. Second tool I may want to configure, if there is time, is how to deploy model using Flask. Okay, using Flask, I will ask, and plus Streamlit. So using Flask and Streamlit. Experimenting with machine learning models. So for that, we will be using MLflow and DAGsHub. And for deploying models, I will be showing you Flask and Streamlit.